It's a wonderful Friday morning, and you are most welcome once again to our STEM series. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where in the world you're joining us from. My name is Estella Hildanaman, and I'm the coordinator for American Corner Abuba, and I'll be your moderator for this session. So, American Spaces provides access to current and reliable information about the United States through book collections, internet access, events, and activities for everyone. So today we have a very, very interesting topic on our table, and we have Stephen Maltodonko to facilitate this session. So just a brief background about our facilitator. He's a trained telecommunication engineer who has a good understanding of information communication technology. As an entrepreneur, Malta is the founder of Steve Dog Limited, a tech startup. He is an avid free and open source software advocate and trainer, leading over 80 years of Software Freedom Day celebrations in Ghana. So our topic for today is unlocking ChatGPT, exploring your top questions. So we know that this tool has gained really great popularity among every space, and today we're going to explore your questions, your most burning questions that you've asked us in previous sessions, and also the most popular questions about this tool. So just to kick it off with the first question, what is Tomato? What's the difference between ChatGPT and other AI models?
Okay. Thank you for the introduction again. I'm happy to answer as many questions as it is I'll be taking today. So based on your first question, so I'll try and answer your first question, and then also I'll try to run through my presentation as it is I have for today, to bring anybody that might join in this presentation for the first time. So I will just bring everybody to speed. Then we can now dive into all the questions that are poured us from all over the world concerning the presentation as it is we have had to date. So most of the times I've had even some of my colleagues or friends tend to confuse ChatGPT and AI as a whole. And actually, as much as these two are actually in context, they can actually have their own definitions and meanings to what it is they are capable of doing. So one could say, I'll try to always bring it as much as possible so that irrespective of the level to which someone is on the score, we can be able to understand. So like I said, despite the fact of the similarities as it is we have, ChatGPT is not the only model as it is we have as an AI model. There are thousands. Understanding the models and how it is the architecture works can be help us. So one could say that ChatGPT is one of the models that has been created by OpenAI, one of the research company in November. And for the past 10 years, they've been training this model as it is we are having today, ChatGPT, which we are experimenting with. It's more of a natural language processing that is driven by AI technology. So you notice that as much as ChatGPT is or can be referred to as one of the AI tools, it is actually driven by an AI model. So one would now ask then, what is AI, or what we call artificial intelligence? As much as we see the, how do you call it, the words as it is we have in the word itself, artificial and intelligence, is just actually having the intelligence in all items as it is we have, and the artificial is just to also caution us that as much as the information as it is we have, it can only be based on the information that have been fed to that computer model, which are not self-taught, but they have to actually be be taught. So in the concept of AI, they are just referred to as computing hardware that are able to think for itself and make decisions based on data that have been actually fed the model. So as close as both of them look alike, they are actually different. So ChatGPT actually runs on the technology AI. So I've taken that question. I'll come back to you once I'm done with my presentation. And then also, because we know as much as some of the questions you might ask, to also be able to help you today with some two experts, one developer, better for us, goes to be in the chat for us today to be able to help with some of the questions that might come on whilst the conversation is happening. And then I also have Brad Mockley, who is also an ML or machine learning expert, also in the chat. They're also there. So when some of the questions pop up, they might be able to help answer those questions in the chat even before we so I'll just quickly share my brief presentation, which is just going to attempt to bring to speed anybody who this might be the first time. This is the third time I'm presenting this. You might want to take the opportunity to look at some of our previous presentations that as it is we had for the part 1 and 2 of how to take the advantage of, especially in AI in education and so one of the items as it is I would say that currently today AI is able to generate all the items as it is a list. They're able to generate or create music. I had a good conversation with a team from Malawi as it is I mentioned the last time to look at how to explore AI and how it's going to take over, help or enable the music in industry. AI is also able to generate human faces as it is we have. I demonstrated that in the previous conversation. Today, our main focus as it is set in the that the AI can also generate text as it is any question as it is capable of asking. Any or most AI models are able to spell out text as it is we might need. AI is currently able to write code, is able to create art, and also be able to create or record movie. I attempted to already explain what AI is. One of the resources I always share to any of my friends who now start to wanting to know how AI works, because it's critically important. As I always say that AI has taken the center stage, and in the next 5-10 years, AI is actually going to disrupt a lot of things as it is we are going to do. So if you want to be able to learn for yourself, because now AI is for just people who are into technology, but AI is now for anybody and everybody who wants to be part of this world as it is we have. So you can go to Teachable Machines with google.com, a great platform that was created by Google to understand how AI works. You're able to have your little demonstrations. Even if you are a teacher, you can use this to demonstrate to your students how AI actually really works and take advantage of it. ChatGPT, which is going to be our main focus for today. Currently, we are exploring version 4 and awaiting version 5, which it's anticipated to launch in December 2023. ChatGPT 3 or 3.5 had largely been used by a lot of people around the world, and it currently has over 60 million users a day. ChatGPT 3 or 3.5 is capable of giving us results based on text. So it generates text for us depending on whatever question as it is we ask the model. There is version 4 or ChatGPT 4.0, which is a pass or a paid version. What the 4 takes advantage of is that it's capable of giving responses based on the question as it is asking the definition of text and then images. When we go to version 5, which is going to be a mind-blowing release, when it is released in version 5, now we will now be able to have the model to even interact with our environment. So you can ask a model to be able to cook for you in the kitchen, be able to do surgeries for us. It can either have an eye operation, have a heart surgery, or whatnot you want to be able to have. So ChatGPT 5 is going to have a combination of text. It's going to have a combination text and image, and then video for ChatGPT 5. And this we are expected to have launch in December. So one of the things as it is, you could say, and this I saw from one blogger along online, which I also find that are already known, that one do not need to over rely on ChatGPT or most of the AIs this we currently have, especially if you're using ChatGPT. All the knowledge version 3 as it is we have do not have current knowledge, and it's limited to knowledge as late as November 2021. If that is wrong, I think November 2020, September 2021. And that will mean that if you ask the model any question, it can only give you responses based on the information that as 2021. So if there was something that came after 2021, it will not be capable of giving you that information as it is. You need to be able to be mindful of the language as it is used. You have to be accurate and specific as much as possible to be able to get the most out of it. In creating an account, you need your email, your age, and your phone number to be able to have a successful account created. Once that is created, you have the power in your hands. There are things as it is we would know as prompts, and I always explain prompts in ChatGPT, especially to be the arm that enables it to give the right responses as it is you need based on the questions as it is you are asking the platform. So once you are a new user, I always encourage you to play with the platform as much as possible. And at the end of the day, it helps you to master some of those prompts carefully so that whatever answers it is giving you will be as accurate or close to being accurate as possible. We're going to have hands-on soon. One of the great questions that have been asked, which I always say, would ChatGPT replace humans? This is a very dicey question, Mr. and protection, but I think one way or the other, this explains the necessary evil as it is we have. And I always say that AI is only going to replace anybody who is not currently using AI or exploring how AI actually really works. That does not also take the fact away that certain jobs are actually going to be taken away. Since over the years, over the period, we've had jobs that have come and evolved, and in this year. So today's topic, as it is, we have a way to unlock the power of ChatGPT and explain all the top questions that has come up. So I'm going to attempt with the entire team. Pardon me if I'm unable to answer all the questions, but I'm sure we are going to be able to take all the questions and give you great answers at the end of the day. So back to you, Estelle.
All right, thank you, Walter, for that wonderful intro. Yeah, so I think some of the things you've already talked about has touched on some of the questions that have been properly asked about ChatGPT, touching on not relying solely on the tool, and also the place of the limitation. You said that the tool has information from November, all up to November 2021, so it doesn't have current information beyond that. So delving more into confidentiality, because you talked about in the previous sessions about being more specific in giving your prompt. Someone that's from Divine, he asks that, please, who owns the rights to the information generated by ChatGPT, and can you reference ChatGPT as a source of your information?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Thanks, Divine, for putting that up. the interesting thing about the response as it is we have from ChatGPT is that ChatGPT or most AI platforms or algorithms that not only source information or responses from just one place, you might have them as a mixture of licensed data that is created by the humans that actually trains the model. So it might actually be a very tricky situation to be able to say that would it be right to reference ChatGPT? The question would be that what would we define as reference? And reference critically would just mean that you want to be able to give back to wherever as it is you source that information or that data as it is you might have from. And bear you me that you can ask the same question ChatGPT and it might give you a different answer based on the number of times as it is you ask that same question to the platform, because the multiple times as it is you ask it, the platform might presume you are not satisfied with the response as it is you are asking. So if you reference it or cited it, it'll be good, despite the fact that it will be good practice to fact check the information and then cite the original source of the information as it is you might be getting as a response from ChatGPT, rather than just using ChatGPT as the easy way out to see that the response as it is was gotten from ChatGPT. Because ChatGPT, first and foremost, is also or can be meant as a tool generation or gathering ideas rather than the primary source of information. So it would be ideal that whatever information that might be gotten from ChatGPT, the onus will lie on the user that is using the platform to be able to find out or fact check those information that it gets. And then, like I said, you can now cite the original sources directly where applicable or possible. But I've seen certain articles that certain people cited ChatGPT as a reference for what information as it is. But if you ask me, I would think that it's ideal, even if you wanted to add ChatGPT as one of the sources for citing, you want to be able to fact check again, and this reoccurring the fact of the information that you are getting. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. But touching on the part of confidentiality, how does the tool handle that? Because people are behind the tool, making use of the tool. It's in terms of ownership.
Can you please rephrase the question here?
Yes, I was asking about the part of confidentiality with the specific information you input in the tool. How well do you how can you trust the fact that your information is really being confidential or it's being kept well and it's not open to someone else having access to those specific information?
Okay, so in terms of confidentiality, there have been a lot of policy conversation that has gone around how data can or should be handled based on certain platforms that are receiving information. Why it would also always be advisable that when you are online, very sensitive data when you are actually online, because you can actually really tell who is actually really not having access to that data, despite the fact that we have rules and regulations that guide how data is processed online. So if one make reference to safety or policy guiding privacy, I think there are international standards and laws that actually guide how informations are gathered or used online. The platform as it is we currently have is still learning. We need to be able to bear in mind. In my first presentation as it is I gave, I also showed how you can prevent ChatGPT from storing the information as it is you need to be able to disable that from certain form. That will mean that whatever as it is you are asking, it is not going to store or use it as a learning model for further questions. That might be a way, but there's been conversation around the fact that once you've typed the question and the model being able to understand the question as it is you asked it and be able to process a response for you one way or the other, hasn't the model learned the question as it is you've already asked it? Since I'm not at OpenAI, I'm unable to truly answer that question, but it has given the flexibility to determine whether you want the platform to save the information and even the responses as it is you are asking it. You just need to go to settings and then clear the history as it is you have, and then that'll be good.
Okay. All right, thank you for that response. Yeah, so going back to, if you're a movie lover like I am, when you watch these movies, you can have futuristic types where 2040, 2060, and you see that robots are probably being used as security. Instead of using a security man or employing someone like that, you have a robot being your security. So in terms of talking about jobs, what are some of the jobs that ChatGPT is taking away, and which jobs are being created by the emergence of this tool?
Okay, I like the twist of that question. And since we are using ChatGPT, probably let's just ask ChatGPT the question as it is you are asking me. So I'm just going to share my screen. And then we ask ChatGPT the question as it is you ask, because most of the questions as it is might come, the model is able to actually tell you some of those. So let me just zoom in, and then as it is we start. So the first response will be hello. Can you list 30 AI space, and we see the responses it's going to give us. So some of the responses it is the platform is giving us that we're going to have people like cashiers, taxpayers, bookkeepers, data analysts, survey research, insurance underwriters, lab technicians, content writers, administrative assistants. You're going to have people like librarian, receptionists, pro booth operators, data entry, especially telemarketers. This is just 30 of them. So you can see there are even 30 countries like Malaysia, where when you go into some of their hotels, you are only interacting with AIs or robots from checking in to giving you the room allocations and for another view. It is already starting, and this is just 30 of them. If you have a model, you can ask it to list 50 of them for you as well to see what is it that's going to spill out for you to just see what are the category of things as it is you are having. When ChatGPT 5 is released, we are even anticipating it might even affect the medical field heavily going forward because of the capability of what, depending on the capability of things the platform is capable of doing. As this, you see some of the items on my list again, like travel agents. This being the reason that since AI has that power and capability of running through large amounts of data, it makes it sometimes more accurate when it comes to dealing with a lot of items. So if you see an item like point number 28, radiologist. So right now, when AI gets fully integrated into the medical fields and somebody goes to run a scan, that would mean that once it's done, I could just walk into a room, follow the instructions probably that might be given on the screen. The scan image might be taken, and the AI can actually run the analysis even better than the human eye as this we might have. There's just been one limitation currently, which AI is unable to solve yet, to use that word advisedly, where in the medical field, sometimes we would need the medical practitioners to either feel, to tell how a patient is. That AI has not been able to do yet. We don't know if AI is going to get there someday. But despite that, a lot of things as it is medical person can do, as it is we have, based on the information that has been fed to the model, AI is able to do that and even be beyond. So this is just 30 of things as it is, like as it is, you can see that AI is going to replace going forward. So the next question would be, which jobs, you asked which jobs is AI going to create, if I got it right?
Also, yes, please. Yeah.
Can you list 30 jobs AI would create? And let's see. These are some of the potential jobs that AI is also going to bring into the market going forward. And so we're going to have new jobs that are going to come as AI trainers, enthusiasts, virtual reality, which are doing great things. I've seen certain malls in the Europe countries where when you walk into a mall and you wanted to buy a clothes, there's actually a screen with a camera. And then you can virtually try the clothes on without wearing the clothes physically. So once you stand there, virtual reality actually analyzes your body and it's able to try the clothes on you as if though you were wearing the clothes. And if you like it, you can actually really take it. There's robotic engineering, there's a security aspect of it, there's a health specialist, as it is, I'm saying, it's going to be able to affect the health sector heavily. There is the research and scientists, and the list is endless. There's the UI, there's the chatbot development. So chatbots, as it is, we might see sometimes when you visit certain websites, you are able to interact with a bot, which gives you responses as if though it was a human being chatting to you. Sometimes you are able to get some of the answers as it is you might get even before when it's seen or sorted that some of the answers as it is you want are still not given by the robot. Then they can now transfer you to an agent. But before that even happens, because most of the time there's huge data that already exists, the bot most of the times is capable of answering a lot of the questions that this I have. So this is just a list of 30 jobs that are also going to be created by AI as this we have the question that keeps coming in there. But trust me, even if AI hadn't popped its head up today, definitely some of the jobs as it is we have will gradually fade out. Just that AI is making it run more faster than as it is we anticipated to have had change. And I think the only thing as it is we might want to raise ourselves with is that change will be the only constant as it is we always have, which is one of the school of thoughts as it is we have. So we should embrace it, and there's nothing as it is I think we can do currently because it's taking to the stage I keep repeating. And the better we start using it, the good for it.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that response. So there's one interesting question coming from Ms. Kabani. He's asking, it looks as if ChatGPT has a limited number of use, or let me say limited number of days. Why is it so? And is there a free version that is not unlimited?
I didn't get a question right. Can you?
Yes, yeah, okay, so let me go over it again. It says, it looks as if the ChatGPT has a limited number of use, or let me say limited number of days. Why is it so? And is there a free version that is unlimited?
I am unsure which platform he is using because the 3.5 or 3.0 is actually free and you can access unlimited stars. There was one person I spoke to in, I think Uganda, who reached out to me, also had a similar, I don't know if it's the same problem he's having. So what ChatGPT has enabled is that despite the fact that it has created a platform and algorithm for people, it also giving the flexibility of developers to also ride on top of what it is they have built, and allowed people to customize the platform based on their interest or need. So we've had people who have picked the algorithm or the course for ChatGPT and be able to model other solutions out of it in the event of making money or being able to leverage on the technology that it is currently have. So the platform that the person from Uganda shared with me was that he only allowed the user to ask about 3 or 5 questions per day. But ChatGPT doesn't give you that limitation. So probably if the person is not using the original version of ChatGPT, and probably the person wants to go to chat.openai.com and be able to create an account, that the person can just verify the account as it is the person is using, or if the person is still online, the person can actually share the link as it is the person is using to be able to access that platform. But as it is, I know to the best of my knowledge, the 3.5 is free for use as it is you have. If you want more power, more stability, you can upgrade to the 4 as it is we have, which is $20 month for you to now have more extra power, capability of things as it is the version 3 could not do as the version 4 is.
Okay, so I hope Skabani, your question has been answered. So yes, so moving on to the next question on our table. This came in from Patience Quay. So she asked, can you use AI to create a PowerPoint?
Yes. AI, in the last conversation I had over the weekend is like, you can virtually use AI to do anything as it is you want to be able to have done. Okay. From cooking a meal to giving that recipe as it is you never knew about. You can tell ChatGPT or other AI models that, oh, maybe I had pepper, tomatoes, garden eggs, in your fridge. What can you cook out of it? And it will be able to give you a recipe and a step-by-step guide of the item as it is you want to be able to. So if it's able to give you a recipe or even food, then PowerPoint or presentation that is more formal is even way easier for it to do. I would do a quick demonstration of 2 items as it is. You can have ChatGPT. I hope my share screen is still available. If you guys can you confirm if you can still see my share screen?
Yes, Malto, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So hello. Is so I'm going to ask ChatGPT to generate a template slide on the history. Ghana, and then let's see. Oh, I think I've stopped that response. So when you make a mistake, you can always stop a response, and then the reason why I stop it is because I didn't give it the right context for what it is I wanted to be able to have done, even though it's going forward. So you could hit the edit button as it is you see at the right corner button as it is, and then just add what you want to be able to add to the document. So I can say, please generate a 10-page PowerPoint slide on the history of Ghana. The reason why I'm stopping this and then demonstrating it again is that in ChatGPT, what I want to say is that ChatGPT have one of the limitations as it does not have common sense in code. Means that it's just going to take whatever question as this you are giving it and respond to it. It's not going to assume maybe I wanted it to create a PowerPoint slide or not. So it is very important that whatever you want a response from ChatGPT, you want to be able to specify the right context in whatever sentence as it is you have for it. So I'm going to save this and then we submit. So now you'll notice that now the response is a bit different as it is we have. And then also with one of the explanations as it is I gave, that ChatGPT is text-based, not the entire ChatGPT, but the 3 and the 3.5, which is text-based. So whatever response is going to give me is going to be text-based to start with. So you notice that it has given me a quick, step-by-step for all the slides on the things as it is I want to be able to talk on. If I wanted it to expand some of these points, I could ask it to even rewrite it, which I have started some of other presentations if I felt it was too difficult to understand or whatnot view. So a quick summary of what it is, it has understood the question or the prompt as it is I've given it to give me a 10-page, which I specified. So this is the first methodology as it is you want to be able to have what it is the person asks. So yes, ChatGPT can help you get what I'll call the baseline for that PowerPoint slide as it is you want to be able to have. You can also, if you had, let's say, an article, if depending on what it is, or you made a research and you already have an article document, you can feed the article documents to the platform and then ask it to generate a PowerPoint based on the article as it is you have fed it. So it's going to pick that article and analyze the article as it is you have fed the model, and then be able to give you all the pointers based on the article as it is you give it. In this context, there's also one thing I think I taught in the last one, which is that we just asked it to create a PowerPoint slides, and I instructed to have 10-page slides. So this is going to use its way of writing. So I think in the second presentation as it is I had, I also said that you are capable of training the model to write as if though you were the one writing it. So all you need to be able to do will be to pick a documentation as it is you are writing, either text or an email or something as it is you're writing that contains your personal style of writing. Don't go and copy it anywhere. Something you have personally written, and then just start with your problems. Analyze this, and then you can ask it to pretend you were the one writing the PowerPoint presentation based on another article as it is you're going to feed it. Once that is fed the model, the responses of whatever as it is going to give you is not going to be based on how it sees the document, but it is going to use your style of writing to rewrite the documentation of the pointers as it is you have. The first way of having the PowerPoint slide down, there are two other ways as it is, or many other ways as it is you have. We have third-party plugins that allows you to pull the API for ChatGPT into those applications, not to advertise any platform from the rest, but Canva can be a critical example where you can actually pull the power of ChatGPT into Canva. If you know, Canva is one of the online graphics enabling that allow users to quickly create either flyers or presentation or portfolio documents for their businesses. You're able to put the power of ChatGPT into that platform as well, and be able to ask those questions. Once that is done, it's able to give you those responses, and then you use Canva as the base imagery to fit in some of the other things as it is you want to use. Because bearing in mind, the version 3 can only spit out text, or it's a text-based model. If you're using the 4 is capable to give you a combination of the imagery and then also text. You you'll be surprised some of the images to pick from me and where it is they get them from. There is the other method where you can ask ChatGPT to give you a code of the presentation as it is you are having. So if you take, for example, I copy just the same questions, and then I could ask ChatGPT to generate a 10-page VBS code PowerPoint slide on the history of Ghana. So what it's going to do So what it's going to do will be that all the items as it is we see here is that we are able to copy this code most of the times, people who are a bit familiar with coding, and then just head to PowerPoint and be able to embed this code. When you go to view, then there is the micro option, right? So when you go to the micro option, you are capable of adding that. When you go there and you do not find it, you can go to options and then customize ribbons. And when you go to customize ribbons, you see the developer mode. Just take the developer mode and hit OK. It will give you the VBS session of whatever it is you want to be able to have. And then this, we can have that code as it is we have from here directly, and then go into, like I said, PowerPoint. Once you go to the micro side, go to the VBS side or the VBA side, and then once you paste the code in that column, it's going to pull out all the context as it is that's hard for you. And then when you run it, all the slide as it is you have are just going to appear for you to be able to see or have going for it. So,
Okay. Yeah, so that was really interesting to know. Yeah, so moving on to the next question, Patience Quay has another question. She says that the chat always says it is limited to some information because it cannot give information that is beyond September 2021. How do we get 2022 to date information?
okay. So I confirm quickly. So instead of using VBS, you can also use VBA to be able to have all the codes in one place, just to correct that for us, the Visual Basic for applications. And then it has all the codes as it is you have for one place. To talk about the limitations of data. So I think one of the things as it is ChatGPT or OpenAI, which a lot of people might not know, would be that this model as it is we have currently, the version 3 and 3.5, was to test how people are going to use the model and some of the questions they are going to ask the model. And then they learn from how they are interacting with the model to better some of the policies as it is we had going forward. So some of these limitations needed to be put in place to check some of these activities. But I think about last week, version 4 has been connected to the internet. So you're able to use the version 4 to ask, or even analyze a website. I've seen a tutorial where you are capable of using ChatGPT to summarize a YouTube video. So you can actually give it a prompt and ask it to summarize a YouTube video for you, and then give it the YouTube video link and maybe the title of the YouTube article. And then ChatGPT is able to, in minutes or seconds, is able to summarize the entire YouTube video as it is you have. For you, it can summarize it in one sentence or whatnot you. You're able now to pick a website or a live website that have too much articles and access to summarize that as well for you. In this case, you are not copying the text and pasting, but you're asking it to go on the internet and come back. ChatGPT 3 and 3.5 do not have that capability. So if you want to be able to have that capability of having real-time information, as it is we have, you want to have the paid version, right? $50 per month, and then you might be in the right boat to use all the information as it is you want to be able to have. But as it is we have currently, the version 3 has a limitation to 20.
Okay, so it means that the free version has more limitations, in terms of getting access to up-to-date information. So moving on to the next question, how does ChatGPT handle sensitive or inappropriate content?
So, ask the question again.
Yes, so how does ChatGPT handle sensitive or inappropriate content?
Okay, so you hear me talk about the fact that the version 3 or 3.5 has, should I say, it's an objective to be able to achieve how humans are going to interact with the platform. I've had people who had asked me, is one capable of guiding the platform to a negative outcome? Yes, once you are capable of understanding how the prompts works perfectly, and you've now mastered the art of asking the right question to the platform, you can actually guide it to virtually do anything as it is you want to be able to have it done for you. But in other sense as well, I think one of the great things I think OpenAI, which have done to release the 3 or 3.5 into the public domain and see how we would attempt to use that before releasing more powerful platforms. As it is we have, if you had currently the platform version 4 of how to create a homemade bomb, you are not, or you are less likely to have the platform give you those responses, even though from the initial stages, it could have given you a step-by-step guide of how to do a homemade bomb and all those stuff. But based on how people are interacting with the platform, OpenAI have been able to put certain limitations and checks on some of the results the platform is able to spill out. So now that irrespective of some of the questions as it is, you're going to ask the platform, you're going to have very limited or no responses based on the sensitivity of the question as it is you are asking the platform. Day in, day out, that point is being worked on heavily by the organizations in trying to guide the model pretty very well concerning very sensitive issues going forward.
Okay, but talking about that aspect, isn't that quite biased in any way?
Can you imagine if I could ask ChatGPT how to hack maybe the national database and run away without getting caught, and give me a step-by-step? Because the platform has been fed with as much knowledge as it is. It can be fed with, it has learned human interaction with devices and all the information that's currently sits on the internet. It has large chunks of data to it. It knows how system works. I've said the platform is capable of writing codes. is capable of teaching you even ethical hacking. That means that it is capable of teaching you even how to hack a system. And so if some of these checks are not put in place, will mean that certain people can use it to a very bad advantage. They are not really. So in this context, I want not to say that it will be biased, but it will be a greater good. If not, it will become a weapon in the hands of who can use it appropriately.
Okay, that's very interesting. So getting back to the next question that we have, can ChatGPT generate creative content or come up with original ideas?
On the fly, I'm thinking about what the definition of original content is, in the sense that in one of the sections, I gave it a scenario to write a poem for us, as it is we did in the copywriting section, where I gave it a scenario where I had met someone, did not take contacts, and just gave me certain pointers to be able to have certain things done for me. Based on that, he was able to model a point for me. Now I'm asking myself, how original is that content? Because I do not know what the definition of what the person who's asking the question is making reference to as being originality. Because in my mind, I could say the question or the prompt I have asked ChatGPT to write the poems for me was original based on my perspective. But somebody would say that because it had used knowledge from the internet to be able to help me put that prompt into, flesh, someone might argue the fact that it might not be original. But if I remember pretty well, I think it did a better job if I was asked to write that poem myself, even though I gave it the prompt to be able to write. So I think it's a yes and a no answer.
Okay. So, right. So I'm going to follow up question for that particular thing you just talked about. So in terms of repetition, let's take an instance where you have maybe an assignment in a class, and we have, sometimes you can't have a conversation with someone and they are thinking the same thing you are thinking. So the person gives the same prompt just as the other fellow gives us the same prompt. Is there a likelihood that there's going to be a repetition of those same responses, that when it gets to the table of the lecturer, they will know that truly this was something like copy and paste? Is anything like that in regards to using this tool?
Yes. And no at the same time. Again, I don't know if that will mean that I'm trying to be biased on the part of the artificial intelligence platform, but it's just me trying to be as open-minded as possible in all the possibilities that happen. So I tried asking the same question as it is we asked the platform the previous time when I was doing something, because I wanted some more information to see. I was experimenting something, but when I asked it the question, it gave me back the same response. One of the things I remember in one of the classes when I was teaching Python was that computers are actually not intelligent, even though we are calling them artificial intelligence. But what it is the computer knows is the information as it is we give it. And if I remember very well, they'll tell you it's garbage in, garbage out. So based on the information as it is we have, and based on the prompts, if two of us ask the same computer the same prompt, it's not going to say that, oh, because you're a lady and you're asking me this question, I'm going to give you this response. And because I'm a male, I'm going to give you this response. So that's why sometimes after a response is spills out to you, it asks you to either review or remix the responses as it is it has given you, so that it might not just necessarily be the response as it is you are getting. And one of the things as this I said or I keep saying is that no matter the responses the application or the platform gives you, the onus lies on you. Why I keep giving the caution that if you're a beginner, you do not want to start using immediately the platform from doing academic work, because you might be getting a lot of mistakes if you're not sure about what it is you are doing. It is great if you know what it is you are about and using the platform to speed the process of what item as it is you want to be able to have done. That would be fantastic. But if you want to consume whatever information the application is giving you, I'm sorry to tell you that ChatGPT can give you wrong answers.
Okay, so ChatGPT can give you wrong answers, right? So the next question we have is, can ChatGPT be used for customer support or chatbot and bot applications?
Yes, absolutely yes. You see, that's one of the jobs it's going to replace, and it's already happening. When you go to certain e-commerce websites, it says, "Oh, hello, how may I help you today?" It's not the human being talking to you; it's a bot. So it's already happening, and more is going to happen to the extent that one day when you go to a hotel, you're not going to talk to a human being; you talk to a bot.
Most certainly, yes. So are there any other things you want to share with our participants in terms of any lookouts,
Yes, so I've had maybe I could add two things as it is. Some of the engagements of people I've had based on this presentation as it is we have. So there was I had with one Jerry, where the question came about wanting to have a proposal done on an item he wanted to do in Qatar. And since we were doing business and it was like, how was it easy for him to be able to write a proposal, even though he wasn't sure about what it is he needed to do. So Mr. Jerry, based on some of the prompts as it is the conversation as it is had, he did a quick prompt, and then I could share the prompts or the items or things as it is. He had.
You do have 2 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, we just have 2 minutes to wrap up, so.
We would, where is my share screen? Where are you? Share. So you can see, based on the question he has sent to me, responses as it is we have. So he provided the information of what it is he wanted to be able to do. So you see some of the first question as it is, he was asking that, what do you know about disaster in Qatar? And then provide information on the work being done on OpenStreetMap on flood resilience, like going forward. And then if he asks us to be able to do that,
okay,
you'd see clearly what it is it has done for that, and gives you almost all the step-by-step, gives you items of whatever item as it is the person needs to be able to have done. And after I had that conversation with him and we came up with the prompts to have this done, you will notice that, like I keep saying, sometimes some of the responses as it is he gives was so interesting and enormous for me to know that even if I was the one, I probably might not even get the good and a great answer as it is we have. Then there is one which would be the last one, since we just have just 3 minutes.
No, we have just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Oh, yes. So I need to wrap up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wrapping up. So just the last question I asked. So Someone asked me from Abidjan, who wanted a prompt for a curricula, if it could be used for a curricula for his or her school in that capacity, since per the last presentation as the CR. And I just asked this question, you give me a prompt for a curricula. And so you realize that now it has shown us the prompts we are capable of using, and then being able to just fix in those items as it is given to us. Once we ask the question with our filling spaces, is able to generate the entire curriculum for or school or the grade as it is you want to be able to have done for you. Thank you. It's been a great question and answer moment. I hope that was helpful today as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Malto, for demystifying all the mysteries and all the myths surrounding ChatGPT. So we hope that our participants picked, all your answers or burning questions have been answered. So before ending today's program, I want you to know about an amazing online resource that you may find helpful. This is the eLibrary USA. The eLibrary USA is the state-of-the-art digital library with 9 premium electronic databases that include digital newspapers, magazines, journals, videos, and dissertations. So usually these resources only available to use in person at American spaces, but with the global pandemic, we are opening up access to this amazing resource. If you are interested, sign up using the link that can be found in the comment section below. And do remember to hit the notification button and also subscribe to this channel so that anytime we have a session, you can have a notification. We have amazing programs coming up your way this month. So thank you for staying with us. Thank you, Malto, for taking us through this Q&A. And till we come your way again, this program was brought to you by USMBC Ghana in partnership with Mobile Ghana. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.